Uh-huh. Okay. So 11 o'clock, let's get started. Thank you, everybody, for coming to this webinar from ALIA Multicultural Group. I would like to begin by acknowledging and paying my respects to the Wangal people of the Eora Nation by the Baramata River, where I live and work, and also the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, where I work. As in UTS is located. They are the traditional owners of the land, waters, and the sky from where I'm joining you today. And I pay my respects to the elders past and present and acknowledge that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders here today and pay my respects to your elders past and present. I would also like to acknowledge that Aboriginal sovereignty has never been ceded. Today's speaker is Elaine, Dr. Elaine Laforteza. Uh, Elaine is a project officer at the UTS Center for Social Justice at the University of Technology and here in Sydney. Uh, Elaine is a Filipino migrant to Australia. She has a PhD in cultural studies and is the Equity and Diversity Project Officer for Cultural Diversity at the UTS Center for Social Justice and Inclusion. She has held academic positions at Macquarie University, Charles Sturt University, and at UTS. Elaine's work has been published in peer-reviewed academic journals and community media, and her book, The Soma Techniques of Whiteness and Race, is available through Routledge. Elaine hosts SBS's award-winning podcast, My Bilingual Family, and is also an emerging playwright, producing plays for various festivals in Sydney. Elaine recently sold one of her plays to Fay Pictures, a TV and film production company that aims to decolonize Hollywood. Elaine is currently working on a TV script with the Fay Pictures on a comedy series. I'm really privileged to know Elaine as a colleague for the last almost 13 years that I've been at UTS, and Elaine is a joy to work with and an absolute delight to listen to, and I hope you will all enjoy her presentation today. As you can see on the screen, the title of today's presentation is Amplifying Multicultural and Multilingual Initiatives. Um, Dr. Elaine Forteza, please take it away. I can't see you on the screen at the moment, but yes,
Oh, that's so lovely, Buva.
I can see you
Okay,
now.
you can see me? Yes, and hopefully everyone can hear me as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd first like to say thank you so much, Buva, for that very lovely, warm introduction, and also for bringing me along to this. This is very exciting for me. Before I begin, I would also like to pay my acknowledgements, and I'd like to do it in my mother tongue, which is Ilocano. And Ilocano is a Filipino language. So, agyamanak kadagiti na indaklan ang mangipang pangulo iti daga. Dijay tattao nga Aboriginal ken Torres Strait Islander at saka dijay darug ken Guringay. Agsipo da kadagiti am amin ang naglabas ken agdama. And the English translation is written on the slide as well. But I've also added the specific part that I'm actually on Darug, on Guringai land too. I will talk about the importance of saying an acknowledgement in your mother language a little bit later because it is tied to one of the projects that I'll be mapping out for everyone today. But I have to say, saying that, it brings me to tears, but I will try not to cry at the start of the presentation. But you can already see the cultural significance and the impact of speaking in language and paying your acknowledgements on land that you're currently on and land that is stolen. So this is the outline of what I'll be talking about today. Wolva already mentioned that I'm from the Center for Social Justice and Inclusion. I'm also a part of the executive committee of the UTS Multicultural Women's Network. And these are the two, I suppose, bodies or places that enable the work that I'm coordinating, which includes the Say My Name campaign, the Say Our Names research project, and the Acknowledgement of Country project too. So the Center for Social Justice and Inclusion, which I'll be calling the center from now on because I run out of breath saying that whole thing. We look after the equity, diversity, and inclusion aspects of the university. The team that I'm in used to be the Equity Diversity Unit, and we do focus on many key areas, not just cultural diversity and racism, but that's my particular remit. This involves supporting staff networks like the UTS Multicultural Women's Network. And this is a network that's open to all UTS staff members who identify as a woman and coming from a cultural and linguistically diverse background, so called backgrounds, as well as allies, of course. We're always inviting allies. And I think we have two male allies now. That's exciting. We have over 200 members and two wonderful male allies. So we're hoping to build that up as well. So through this network, we've been able to partner and really deliver on, I'm hoping, really impactful projects and initiatives. Because the Multicultural Women's Network, our vision is to build a strong community of multicultural women who are empowered and liberated to become their best personal and professional selves. And at the heart of this is really what we want is not to leave our cultural heritage once we enter the workspace. We want that to be a part of who we are at work, not just at home. So proud of that. It's acknowledged and it becomes a part of business as usual in the ways that we work and connect with each other. We have, well, this is the stats as of early this year, but we have over 200 members now, and it's across the university. So all academic, professional staff. We're not student facing, but we do have some students who are higher degree research students who work either as tutors or research assistants at UTS. So this is primarily a staff facing network, but we do host events that's for everyone at ETS and also beyond that as well. And we come from all over the globe, 27 citizenships other than Australia across the countries listed on the slide. And we have at least 49 languages spoken other than English, which is really exciting when we come together for a coffee catch up and then you meet someone that could have the same, I suppose, mother language or first language as yourself at work, which I have to say, Ilocano is not the most common Filipino language in Sydney. So when I do meet another Ilocano speakers, it's amazing, and it feels like breathing out in a way. So one of the projects that we do at the Centre and Multicultural Women's Network is this one called Say My Name. Now, when you hear it, you might be thinking of the Destiny's Child song. It's no affiliation to that song, but feel free to sing it if you'd like. Say my name. See, there we go. See, I can't help but I can see someone vibing with it. Go, Jackie. But this is like that call to arms about Say My Name. This project is similar in that we want to be able to say our names without having to always explain it. So, at its heart, this project is a decolonizing approach to recognizing names that are usually deemed as tricky or unfamiliar or foreign in Anglo linguistic contexts. So, it's not just about name pronunciation, it's encouraging people to reflect deeply on why we are more familiar or more comfortable with certain sounds and accents, ways of listening and hearing, and so on. Because in Australia, we speak more than 300 languages, but we do have a monolingual mindset. And this is really reflected in what we think is a sound that is familiar to what we should say, what we should hear, and what we should listen to. So focusing on names enables, I think, an easier entry point into conversations and hopefully a deeper reflection, a more nuanced reflection on issues of racism, First Nations language loss, revival and survival, and cultural diversity. In the scheme of cultural diversity and anti-racism initiatives, names are kind of like low-hanging fruit in that we all have one. We can all understand what it's like to have a name and what it means. It's kind of easy to understand from that angle, but the importance of it is significant because these are the labels, the categories that we carry with us through life. That's what we call ourselves. That's how we are called. That's how we can belong or not belong in certain spaces with certain people and certain connections or disconnections. So what we developed was an email signature guide and how-to guides, including infographics. So the infographics map out the steps as to how to ask someone, oh, actually, how do you say your name? So in a respectful manner, and to inform people, this is how you say my name. And I think many of us may have been in this situation before, and it can be really awkward, or even something that you don't bring up because you feel, oh, well, it's all right if you're not saying my name correctly, or I'm not really sure how to say your name correctly. How do you navigate that? So we've developed these resources to try to make that engagement a lot less confrontational and more friendly, easier. We've developed educational videos, and we've embedded these resources in teaching and learning at UTS, example with international studies. And we have been a part of events and presentations, much like this one, and we were a featured event at Vivid Festival last year. And you can see two pictures from that Vivid event. We had a storytelling panel, and you'll see another picture with the woman interacting with this artwork. That artwork is a picture of a tree, or an illustration of a tree, and the branches and roots of the tree have words like love, compassion, empathy, kindness. And then the trunk and the branches have words like equity, inclusion, anti-racism. But the branches are bare until people input and interact with the artwork and make it grow themselves. So what we're trying to get people to think is we can grow this tree, but not without your help, not without our work together as a community. So we printed out these leaves, and on the leaves, there are prompts that ask, what's your name? How do you pronounce it? What does it mean? Or what is its significance? So we invited people to grow the tree together and have this tree of many different names, many different languages, which was really beautiful to see. What was once a bare tree is now a tree that thrives. We also have a research project component to the campaign, and it aims to provide substantive data on multicultural experiences in the workplace, as well as practical resources to enable culturally inclusive spaces. Now, we know in Australia there is a dearth of data on cultural diversity, ethnicity, and race, and we know what gets measured matters, and what matters gets funded. So we really need that data to map out these are the pain points or the areas of opportunity, and so it can be legitimized within the institution, so the institution actually starts to care about it in a more substantive level. So this is the research component to this campaign. The project team and I were we were very excited and thankful to get a grant to deliver this work. It's a UTS collaboration grant, and it involves the project team coming from across the university. So it's a group of Multicultural Women's Network members from the center, from what was then known the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, the Faculty of Engineering and IT, and Jambana, which is our Indigenous Education and Research Center. What we have delivered are a mini documentary, a best practice guide. We're working on academic articles, and we recently launched the documentary and the guide with the City of Sydney and Customs House, which was a beautiful, beautiful event. I'd love to show you the trailer, but I can also send the link through for the mini documentary. It's only a short one. The documentary is only about 16 minutes long, and the trailer is about 1 minute. Do you reckon I can do that, Buva? Just play it?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Wish me luck. Okay, play.
My name is Naral.
My name is Mohammed Aman Sheikh.
My name's Leia Sivihano. My name is Maria Lucia.
When I have to say my name out loud, I'm not very brave at all. Naral Chokcheddin, such a mouthful and such a big burden to put on somebody else to try and get that name right.
I clearly remember the professor who was calling me on stage. He totally butchered my name. So I just used to introduce myself as, hi, I'm Jaime, nice to meet you. And people used to get back to me with, sorry, did you say Jaime?
My full name is Hassan Gudrawala. and everyone in that meeting was introduced with their full name, except me. You do have this sort of like English Anglo mindset or pressure to conform.
And so the documentary, oh, thank you for the love hearts. I love it as well. I mean, I've worked so closely on that and gone through the multiple edits, but every time I see that, it still fills my heart. Um, Yeah, so and the documentary goes on with different stories of staff and students at UTS about their experiences with their names as well. I'd also like to introduce this project that I mentioned earlier, the Acknowledgement of Country project. And this again aims to amplify and really recognize the importance of multiculturalism and multilingualism in the workforce and beyond. I look specifically at the UTS space because that's where I'm in and that's the work that I do. But of course, all of this, I think, resonates on a larger scheme or on a broader scheme as well. This project at the base, I guess at the basic level, is asking people to learn how to say and write an acknowledgement of country in their mother language or a language other than English. The main inspiration for this was the Voice to Parliament referendum results and the lead up to that. So I was talking, like Buva said, I'm Filipino, and so I was talking to a lot of people in my community about the referendum, informal research as such, and just asking, how do you feel? What do you know about this? Any questions, that kind of thing. And I got a lot of responses that were very encouraging, very positive. Um, some were quite apathetic, while others were quite hostile. And I thought, how do we talk about this or engage meaningfully in this conversation about First Nation sovereignty, reconciliation, without hostility, right? How can we do that in a way that we're empathetic, that we're compassionate, and that we're thinking and feeling in a way that wants us to learn more. So open to learning more and to feeling more and being open to that. And I found that speaking in language was a really powerful way to get through to people and to talk in a way that made sense for people. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we got an acknowledgement in Ilocano or Tagalog or other languages, and maybe that would mean something significant or mean something different to people hearing it and saying it. So this project comes from that, and in conversation with my beautiful colleagues at UTS, Lachlan McDaniel, who's a Wiradjuri man, and Neda Dowling, who used to be at UTS and she's now at UNSW. Lachlan is a Wiradjuri man, as I said, I think, and Neda, she speaks about 3 or 4 languages. Her mother tongues are Dari and Bahasa. And so we were all talking about what it means to speak in language, and then also what that would mean if we do an acknowledgement in our mother tongues. So it really came from these conversations as well. Um, we also wanted a way to really acknowledge First Nation sovereignty, not just through English or not always through the lens of Western whiteness, because that's not where we're coming from as well. So it's like, saying, okay, I acknowledge that I'm here and on country, but not even in my own words or in my own tongue or with my own heart. So we wanted something that enabled us to do this. So what we've been working on, or what I've been working on with my team, is to record different or languages other than English saying an acknowledgement of country, and Buva has been a wonderful part of this project as well. We've developed educational videos, posters, visual assets. We're also working on a podcast which goes beyond UTS, so talking to people from Multicultural New South Wales, Reconciliation Australia, for example, and working on a literature review too. These are some of the languages that we recorded. So we've recorded around 37 languages and 42 stories, because this, again, is a storytelling project. It's not just about hearing or writing an acknowledgement of country. It's about the story sharing. What does that mean? And yarning as a methodology for knowledge sharing as well. So we really made sure that we amplified the stories, not just the words. And here is a draft video of our explainer. And I'm hoping if I just press that, it will play. Oh, yes, and it does. Okay. And this is a draft, so it's not the final thing cut.
I'm Turkish Australian and I acknowledge country.
I'm Pakistani and I acknowledge country.
I am Finnish and I acknowledge country.
I'm Croatian Australian and I acknowledge country.
I am Vietnamese Australian and I acknowledge country.
Palestinian Australian and I acknowledge country.
Vietnamese Australian and I acknowledge country.
I'm Nigerian Australian and I acknowledge country.
I'm Sri Lankan Australian and I acknowledge country.
We are Filipino Australian and we acknowledge country.
Can you introduce yourself and what you do?
Hi, I'm Arnie Glentrestouch, the Alamanjita Marang Galindera. That's all I know of my language because we weren't allowed to speak our language, which is really sad. I'm the elder at UTS and it makes me really proud when young ones come and talk to me, of all cultures, it makes me feel really happy. And we are a country that values diversity and inclusion, and that makes me really proud.
How is an AOC different to a welcome to country?
Okay, so an acknowledgement to country anyone can do, and people are encouraged to do it. So it just says the land that you're on, the connection, and with things that are important to that country. A welcome can only be delivered by
Oh, sorry, everyone.
traditional owners of that land, and so they have
Just a bit of a lag, I think it'll be fine.
have permission to do a welcome to country. I think it's really important because in my lifetime, there was a time where Aboriginal people weren't acknowledged in this country. They weren't seen as the first people of this country, and it's a lot's happened. So when people found out that the Aboriginal people weren't acknowledged, and the history that had happened, there was a Bingham Ho report which says the things that had happened to our mob, and then 250,000 people walked across the bridge to say, we are sorry, we didn't know this happened, and we'll never let it happen again.
My name is Dr. Elaine Marie Carbonell Laforteza, and I'm the Equity and Diversity Project Officer at the Centre for Social Justice and Inclusion, and I'm also part of the core committee of the Multicultural Women's Network.
Why is it important to say an AOC in your mother tongue?
Well, in Australia, we speak over 300 languages, but we do have a monolingual mindset. So when we're asked to connect to different cultures, and even to consider or think about First Nations communities, ways of being, doing, and belonging, we're always encouraged to do so through English or Western whiteness. But what does this actually mean for people whose first language isn't English? So this project, the Acknowledgement of Country project, asks people, okay, how do you say an acknowledgement of country in your mother tongue? And I'm hoping that this will help people connect and care for Indigenous sovereignty and think about reconciliation on that deeper, more meaningful level. This project also asks for First Nation stories, especially about language loss, language revival, and strength. So the sharing of those stories is super important so that we can actually reflect and move together. So reflect on what that means to thrive together in terms of diversity, not despite it, and to acknowledge the country that we're actually on.
Bu toprakların, gökyüzünün ve su yollarının geleneksel sahiplerini tanıyor ve onların geçmiş ve günümüzdeki büyüklerine saygılarımızı sunuyoruz.
So that's our explainer video. It's not the final copy yet. We are aiming to launch the project next year, February 21, 2026. So mark the calendars early. You're all invited. And we're aiming to do it around International Mother Language Day, which is the 21st of February. So around that timeline too. So you're getting a first peek at that video. No one has really seen that yet. And there are a few things as I watch it now that will be edited out. Like, that's not that part. That part can go. But for now, that's pretty much the gist of it. My next slide is actually, oh no, it's starting again. So my next slide is actually a video of someone doing an acknowledgement of country, but I'm mindful that we might be running out of time.
No, Elaine, we have 1 hour for you, so don't worry.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. I can show that then if I'm just trying to figure out how to not play the video again. Okay, sorry, everyone. I might just have to stop the share and then just go to the slide that way.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. And I will just go back to it. Sorry, everyone. Oh. Presenter layout. Okay. What is it showing now? Not the right slide?
It's kind of black saying Elaine has started screen sharing, but
okay.
I don't see your
Let me try that again.
slide. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, sorry for this, everyone, but we did have with this project, we've had some really beautiful engagement with different people in different communities. And if I can share some of the experiences that people have had, one with Buva, for example, and everyone pretty much in this project had the same thing that you went through, Buva, was, well, I've never said an acknowledgement in my mother tongue or an acknowledgement in any other language other than English. So it was a real process for everyone involved to go, okay, what is this in Tamil or Hindi or Greek or French or whatever language people were, whichever language people had. And so it was a deep consultation with community, but also with family. And I feel like this project really reconnected people to their families. What did you?
Yeah, I can talk about that later if you like, because
Yes.
I did it is quite it was a very long and complicated process because
Yes,
things don't translate directly.
That's exactly it. And there's some words that don't translate at all.
Yeah.
So with
Like the word for elder is like, it sounds horrible in Tamil. It's like old lady or something.
Well, that's it. And it's the same in Ilocano. We don't have elder in the way that it means when we say an acknowledgement here. It would be the same, like older person or old person. And then I said, that's not exactly it. And our Sri Lankan storyteller also had the same issue. So they just said elder, and that's completely fine as well, because if it's not translatable, then just use the word that you would usually use. Our Italian speaker went into a really deep dive into family, friends, a famous translator as well. So we've got like a really awesome Italian translation. And I do want to flag with the project itself that we do have generic templates for the acknowledgement of country, but we do advise people you can make it as personal as you'd like, as long as it's culturally appropriate and culturally safe to do so. But we keep it generic because we don't know where people are acknowledging country from. And so you can have your own spin on it, and you don't have to say it all in language, or you can say aspects of it as well. So it's what it means to you and what it means for you to be acknowledging land in the first place.
I think I also ended up educating a lot of people through this process, because I had to call my mother in India to ask what the Tamil word for this or that and everything is. She's like, why are you asking me all this? And then I had to translate the whole thing. And she's like, no, that doesn't sound good at all.
It doesn't sound good.
Then I had to call a friend's mother in Brisbane who speaks the language, and it was a lot of triangulation and at least a week's worth of work to get just one paragraph in the right tone and meaning.
And that it is a process, isn't it, Buva?
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
also
yeah.
shows you the significance of developing an acknowledgement of country, because even in English, we don't usually speak like that. I don't usually say, "Hey, traditional custodians of the land," like, you don't say that really, but it's the acknowledgement gives us that time to really more deeply connect to what that means and to have that respect. So the language, the Ilocano translation was really interesting for me trying to do that, because I realized not many people in my family have that deep, deep Ilocano. So we had to go to one uncle who lives, doesn't even live in Australia, and go, "Do you know the words for this?" Like, what is this? We had to have that deep cultural knowledge as well. And I just loved how it really wasn't straightforward at all. And I really think that story of the development of the acknowledgement in different languages is a story in and of itself, because it's that story of really community forming, community bonding, and also realizing the importance of doing something together, because it's one voice that we've recorded saying all these languages. So one Tamil speaker, one French speaker, one Greek speaker, but it's the voices of the communities that have collaborated and kind of worked to get to this cleanish kind of acknowledgement. I'd like
I
to
learned more about my own language. I learned my language through this, actually, I would say. I mean, because I speak it at home with my mom only. So I haven't written anything in the language before. So this was a learning experience for me too, for my own language.
Yeah. And I was thinking, because I've talked about this project with other Filipinos, and we have so many languages and dialects. It would be awesome to have, like, and different people can take this up as well. So Filipino, and, there's Ilocano, Tagalog, Bicolano, Cebuano, or whatever else, and then we develop our own thing. Of course, I can't speak. I can only speak two. I can't do all the things. That is a question I've also gotten. How do you know if it's correct? So I do rely on the people who come to this project and their knowledge and their knowledge base, and also to verify that as well. So there's also this element of trust too, about who comes to this project and what people are saying. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I'd love to share this acknowledgement, which is done by, maybe some of you know her. She's Amanda Moore's Miley, and she's my colleague at UTS, and she works in Jambana. And her mother language is Samoan. So she's doing her acknowledgement in Samoan.
Tafalava. My name is Tofa Amanda Moore's Miley, and I'm going to speak the acknowledgement of in Samoan. E ia te au le awa ma le whaaloalo e te tawai. E whaatau ina ai e le ele mawhanua whaaleanga nuu. Ma ola tō tupuanga, ma ola tō whaasinumanga. I vai tafe, vai ele ma sia o manga. Ma e whaaloalo ngia fōi e pūlenga a le au matutua o a whai I langi le wholaunga. Ai mai se lava I lātou matutua o lo o tau sia le anga nuu ma le anga I whanua. A le tātou atu nuu I le temi nei. A wā ne I mamulu atu, soifua. Speaking the acknowledgement of country in Samoan is really important to me because it reflects my heritage and the interconnectedness of Pacific peoples, Samoan people, and our connection to First Nations people. By offering the acknowledgement of country in Samoan, I acknowledge that the Samoan language is a tool for cultural preservation and expression. And it also is a way to strengthen our ties, not only with each other, but also with First Nations people here in Australia. I'm really proud to offer this acknowledgement in my native tongue, and I'm really proud to connect in different ways with First Nations Australians.
What I love about Amanda's acknowledgement of country in particular is that she's coming from a First Nations perspective outside of Australia. and connecting to First Nations people in Australia through this acknowledgement. And we've had a few Pacific people offering an acknowledgement as well, and they are First Nations people, but from elsewhere. And I'm thinking it's such a powerful, powerful thing to hear and be a witness to. I started the project with an Excel spreadsheet, and I asked people to input their acknowledgements, and I was watching it live as people populated it, and I got quite overwhelmed because I thought, oh, I'm getting overwhelmed now. But even just watching the words pop up and people, you can see the cursor going back, forwards, delete, what should I include, comments amongst the people writing. And I was watching it live and I thought, this is so beautiful. And we do have, we have had a lot of interest because I have been presenting this to some extent to other I guess other groups and other organizations, or they've heard about it. So Settlement Services International, for example, are quite interested. Multicultural New South Wales. I presented this to Antar as well, and they're quite excited about the reconciliation aspect of it and what that could mean. And also because I was also speaking to a colleague and friend of mine, Mariko Smith from the Australian Museum, and she co-curated she co-curates the First Nations exhibits in the museum, and she was saying it's really excellent that the cultural load isn't always placed on First Nations people. So that's where she was coming from, and her heritage is she's Japanese and Yuan. So she's got I suppose, the migrant perspective and the First Nations perspective as well. So it was really quite affirming to hear that. We don't have to go through all 37 of the recordings and languages, but we will be launching this, like I said, next year. The Say My Name resources, like the infographics, the videos, the micro documentary, they're already on the Multicultural Women's Network website, so they're free to use. Really, just make sure you acknowledge us, so Multicultural Women's Network, Center for Social Justice and Inclusion, if you'd like to use it as well. I'm currently a member for the Multicultural Advisory Panel for the City of Sydney. And so through that, I guess that role, I'm also hoping to leverage some of these resources at a larger scale, so beyond UTS. And we actually have a lot of interest from libraries as to how to embed these resources, have training support around both Say My Name and Acknowledgement of Country. So I'd also really love to hear what people on this call what they think this could mean in terms of the library context as well, and within your own work and practice. I'm hesitant to go to the next slide because that's because that will happen.
My name is Tofa Amendum was my
But I only have a few slides left. So I think rather than showing it, I will just tell you what's on the slides. Yes, it's basically it was going to be in language. Thank you, maraming salamat, and agyamanak, which is maraming salamat is Tagalog. So most people would know that because it's the most dominant language in Filipino. In the Philippines, we have a national language called Filipino, and it's largely comprised of Tagalog, English, Spanish, and some made-up words, right? So words that sound Spanish but aren't Spanish. And so Tagalog is the one that people are most familiar with, but Tagalog isn't actually Filipino. It's a part of it. And I speak the second most common or dominant language in the Philippines called Ilocano. So my mother tongues are both Tagalog and Ilocano. And I didn't realize I had an hour, Buva. I made it like 20 minutes, but I'm happy to talk more. And there's
we'll have a lot of questions and discussions, I'm sure. But you have more time if you want to expand on any of these aspects.
Yeah, sure. And if anyone has questions as well, because I was quite interested in knowing how people receive them as well. I do have to say with the Say My Name and Say Our Names research project, there has been a lot of interest from it because it's something that people can easily understand. in that, like I said earlier, we all have names. This is what we carry with us throughout life. And it's something that is not easily actionable, but at least people can take ownership of the kind of work that is involved in getting someone's name right. And in saying that, we're not actually asking people to get people's names right in the first instance. There are different cultures, different linguistic structures that people aren't familiar with, and that's fine. But it's that more of that relational, more respectful appreciation of someone's name and their heritage, and taking the time to try to learn it. You might not get it right the first few times, but that genuine investment into wanting to do this correctly means so much. And this again stems from working as an academic for many years before this role, and being in classrooms which are very diverse, and students with very diverse names also immediately saying, "Oh, this is my name, but call me John." Or call me Sam or something. And I said, "Oh, well, I can call you whatever name you'd like. Yeah, what's your preferred name?" And then they said, "Oh, well, actually, my name is," and then they say whatever their name is. And they said, "Is that okay?" And there's sometimes this hesitance as well. And sometimes this surprise about, "Oh, you actually want to say my name. That's never happened before." But also you have to give students grace and saying, "Okay, if you really do want the other name, that's fine as well." So it's dependent on that relationship you have and the context that you're in with that person. A few people said, even though you might get my name wrong, I might not necessarily correct you because it's the first and only time I'll see you, or you're not really a part of my day to day. So that's fine. And there are people who have not corrected someone, even if they've known them for a long time, because now it's too awkward to say, "Well, you've been my manager for 2 years, yet you keep saying my name wrong." But now it's kind of weird for me to say, "Oh, by the way, you pronounce it like this." So we're trying to help people navigate the two situations, or the many different situations, in as a practical way as possible, but also to encourage people to say it's never too late. It's never too late to say, and you can do this in a respectful way, in a way that's as not as confrontational as it can be or it might be, and say, "I know you've heard my name said like this, and you've been saying it like that, and I just wanted to say, I wanted to this is actually how you say my name, and I'm reverting back to this pronunciation because this is what it means culturally to me." And yeah, and I appreciate that your work on this. I appreciate your support of that. So give people this sense of ownership, and it's a really assets-based approach. Not saying you've done this wrong, or you don't know how to do this, or you need to feel guilty. It's like, now we can do better, and I can help you do that. And you can do it. We can do it. Yeah. Not saying I can do it all the time, but that's why I need this project as much as anyone else as well. Yeah. And I'm sure a few people on this call might have these similar, have experienced the same kinds of situations and reactions as well. I did also forget to say, actually, at the start, that the Say My Name campaign started with the University of Sydney's Mosaic staff network, and they're a staff network that focuses on cold staff too. And from the Multicultural Women's Network point of view, we were quite impressed with their email signatures, because in their work email signatures, they had the phonetic spelling of their name, and then some of them also had an audio recording. So you could both see and hear what their names sounded like and how you could say it. And we thought that's such a simple yet effective way of navigating that really awkward conversation, or that awkward moment when you hear your name mispronounced, or you have to say, I always used to say, "My name is Elaine Laforteza." It's Laforteza. No one would even ask, but I'd preempt that asking by giving an answer that I assumed was wanted. So we got in touch with them and talked about the campaign, and I guess we wanted to do the same thing at UTS, And so I worked with our design students, our amazing design students, to work on the collateral that you saw today. We also have, I wonder if I can share this. It's another video from the Say My Name.
Sure, yeah, we will have time. Well, I think we'll run out of time for discussions and questions, though. I think.
Oh, that's okay. I can
How
send
short?
I can send all the links. So all
Yes,
the links.
please. Yeah.
But
I put the Multicultural Women's Network link in the chat for
thanks,
people
Buba.
to explore. But if there are any specific links for the trailer, and I think I can also share the presentation slides perhaps with the members later.
I might just need to remove the AOC
videos.
code,
Okay,
yes, because we haven't
that's
launched.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
then no need of that. Then it'll be recorded anyway in the
Beautiful.
recording. So I think we can open up to discussion and questions. And thank you so much, Elaine. It's already 11:45.
I'm
I
glad
know, Elaine, when I asked you, she's like, I'll do 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
Thank you for giving me that. See, Buva knows me so well. Like, okay, I'll plan for 20 minutes. I go over time.
Thank you so much. And everyone, please, if you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself and ask a question, or raise your hand and I will come to you, or put it in the chat. I will monitor it. There's a lot of wonderful compliments in the chat, of course, Elaine. No questions as yet.
I have a question. I'm just trying to fix my camera. Sorry.
That's okay. Hi, Mara. How are you?
Hello. I absolutely love this project. I've been hearing about it from Buva for since last year. I'm part of ALIA Multicultural. So I did have a go at creating my own acknowledgement of country after talking to Buva in my language. And it was really interesting because I know SBS has got the translated language resources, but in the languages, the way they've been translated, they're often like the high academic sort of like language of our areas, and they don't account for dialects and they don't account for the differences. So again, they don't even account for the kind of intersectional experiences even within the country. And so I found it quite challenging because I had to really think about how I speak to my parents, how I speak to my, chicho, nina, teta, tetin, so my aunts and uncles on maternal and paternal sides. And I really had to alter like the translations quite significantly, but it also highlighted a sort of personal loss and understanding of my own identity and disconnection as well. And I think that kind of loss, like when you start thinking about how language shapes who you are and shapes your understanding, when you start experiencing that loss as well, I think it also increases your empathy with the loss here, and it helps me in talking to my aunts, uncles, parents in connecting that loss too, because our area where we come from is also an area of contested identity and all sorts of stuff that's happened historically. So once I start speaking in that language and I start connecting those dots, the understanding is increased as well through that empathetic connection. So I think this is fabulous, and I think it makes it much richer for the whole multicultural Australia as a result. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, no, thank you. Thank you so much. You've articulated that process so beautifully, and the way that you've connected through that language loss and the kind of reshaping or revitalization of it makes it a deeper or more nuanced understanding of what loss is in a colonial context here. And yeah, that is the heart of the project. So I really appreciate you feeling that heart and taking it forward. Yeah, I did forget to say SBS, yes, has the audio data bank already. Not as many languages as we have. No shade to SBS. I love SBS. And
Yeah,
also,
I mean, I couldn't relate to the Tamil version there, and I was just like rolling my eyes about it. And then I was finally happy with my own version.
Yeah, because it has to be meaningful,
Yeah,
not just to you, but to other speakers as well who
exactly. Yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah,
It feels quite, yeah, like very, very elevated formal language in a way that
yeah.
then doesn't become culturally significant, I suppose. But I have, because I also do work with SBS, so I do use my SBS contacts to verify translation as well. But what I did notice with the SBS one, which I thought was hard to, the feeling that you just articulated, that feeling and that connection, is the storytelling and the story sharing. The yarning is not really there. There's explainers about this is what an acknowledgement is, this is a welcome, but what does it mean? Like, I mean, we can have a definition, but what's the heart of it? And no First Nations languages as well. So that's something that our project aims to kind of cover. I'm not leading the First Nations aspect of it, but I'm there as a support too. So that's a really exciting part of the Acknowledgement of Country project. And how many people are becoming someone else through the researching of the language too, even if it's a language that you think you're familiar with and know well,
Yeah.
but you're not familiar with it in a work context, for example, which is where acknowledgements are usually done. Like I said, I do get quite emotional when I speak in language at work. I'm getting less so, but the first time I did, like I was bawling. And it was at SBS. So SBS is the context where it's okay. And they were, but it was for the podcast, My Bilingual Family, and I was encouraged to speak Ilocano as much as possible. And I did, the first time I did in the studio. We all cried. The producers were crying. We were all crying. And then we thought, oh no, we don't have much time in the studio. Time is money. And then had to refocus. But that just shows you how foreign it is, or how kind of an anomaly it is to have language, have that authenticity and cultural heritage as a part of work, as a part of your work identity. And I thought
Yeah.
that's a story that's very, very loud but quite silenced.
So Elaine, there's a comment from Rowan saying the only other language I can speak is Auslan.
Yes.
Do we have an Auslan AOC in our set?
No, we don't, but that would be amazing.
Oh, Rowan, we shall contact you.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, Jackie has put in an example from the city of Mandurah as a link. I can send it to you later, and everyone else can click through in there. Jackie has also sent another example from in Auslan itself. Okay,
Oh,
sure.
beautiful.
So I guess Rowan can check out how it connects to what he knows, or whether he would like to redo it.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Please, please, keep
Yeah.
in touch with me as well. I'm looking through the chat now, and you probably saw from my earlier attempts, I'm not the best at technology, so
We
once
will
I
send you
input,
the recording, and also I think Jackie, we can download the chat also, right?
beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Bhuva.
Yeah. So any other comments from anyone here?
I just read a comment, Bhuva. I think it was, let me scroll up. Someone whose mother language or their grandma's language is also Ilocano, Erica.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That was as
also.
soon as you said your acknowledgement. Yeah. Yeah. This is great. Yeah, I think everyone enjoyed it. And there's one more new comment. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And Mare said she has her email signature with the audio pronunciation of her name, so on. So so it resonates with all of our experiences, whether we have a a different name or not. We are interacting with people all the time in our diverse society, and I think it is really important to understand and respect those differences, and also learn to work with them.
Yes, yeah, because yeah, our workplaces, our social situations are can be very diverse too. and the content that we consume and that we produce as well.
Yeah. And especially the one in the video of, the person who said that everyone was introduced by their full name, and it came to my turn, I was just like, first name only. That kind of thing happens a lot.
Yes, or they don't get called at all. So
yeah.
If you can imagine that in a classroom situation, and then in the focus groups, some of the students said they never called my name, like the tutor never said my name. So for that whole class, I wasn't there. Like, oh, that's
Yeah.
not, that's horrible.
That is, yeah. And many of us have already kind of shortened our names. My name is really long. It doesn't even fit into a computer. I sort of legally changed my name, in America 20 years ago because it wouldn't fit into any computer. So that's it. Now I'm stuck with this name. I mean, this is also my name because my name is a composite of many names, as it does in, Sanskrit and whatnot. So that's fine.
So that's oh God. Oh, it can also go the other way, because when people see, when I say Elaine, I'm assuming that people are assuming I don't look like this. And then when you see me, I've had some reactions where they then mispronounce the Elaine to like Elane, or they
All right.
and then ask, what's your that's your English name. I'm like, no, that's just my name. And someone actually called me Leilani. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Some comments. The whole way through school, if we had a casual, I knew they'd get up to me on the roll because there was a horrified silence at the start of the hours. You get excitingly used to it. All right. Red men shouldn't be that hard. And then Jackie asked me, we'd love to hear your name. I'll say that in a minute. Tracy says, thinking of the old days of physical library cards with limited space for names. Yeah, that's my experience. So, of course, I would like to ask Madam Redmond to say your name in the way that I should say it, please.
It's Keridwen, which was the name that, like, the teachers would be fine with Redmond, but they'd all get so thrown by Keridwen that they'd then expect my last name to be a trap as well.
All right. Okay. Yeah. My name, I will write it down and then I will say it for you. I made up my name early on in life as a combination of my parents' name. So it is long. It is actually also a name, but it's also just happens to be my parents' the last name is a combination of my mother's first name and my father's first name, because we are a patronymic society. We don't use family names because it's caste based. We don't want to reveal what caste or whatever we belong to, so we just use first name. My last name is my dad's first name. My brother's last name is my dad's first name, and so on. So I've written the name there. My name is Bhuvaneshwari Lakshmi Narayanan. It means goddess of the universe.
Oh, hello. We are in good company then.
Yes. Yeah. Anyone else here? So I think we should bring it to a close. We have 2 minutes left. So thank you so much, everyone. If no one has anything else to add, there's one more comment. Julia, at the start of our children's library programs, the parents, children, and programs library officer sing the song, "What Do You Think My Name Is" song. The child or parents let everyone know the child's name and the child is welcome. Nice. And Tracy says the awfulness of teachers saying, "I can't say your name, let's call you so and so," happened so many times when I was at school. Hopefully this is not happening as much now. Shirley, I still have to learn how to say this. Seridwen, one of my best friends at school was the same name, Seridwen. Teachers always called her Sari. The whole class used to correct them. Story of my life. Yeah.
It's nice when you get people to do the work with you too.
Yeah. and at least I think sometimes, you know, all of us who have different names at least understand each other's kind of dilemma. I mean, I understand myself, but at the same time, I cannot promise that I can spell your name correctly or, you know, say your name correctly, but kind of we ask for forgiveness in advance and then learn. It's not you know, that is a learning curve, of course, involved. So, yeah.
Oh, definitely is. I mean, I use the resources that I've generated myself. So I look at the infographic. I'm like, okay, how do I navigate this? Because it really comes from this sense of wanting to be understood and making sure that people have not really felt what you felt as well. But we know people have felt that, but to make that sense of belonging as inclusive as possible, really.
Yeah. I have a lot of Indigenous students trying to teach me their language through email to say they will, you know, acknowledge and also greet me. And then I'm always hesitant whether I should say the same thing back or not, or whether I have a right to do it or not. And then, of course, I do ask them. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good. And to keep that conversation going and keeping it open.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Elaine, and thank you, everyone. A big round of applause to Elaine. And
oh, thank you.
Thanks, Elaine, for your time. We took up almost 1 hour of your time. So
it was beautiful.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. And yes, I'll just send you, Buva, the links and then.
Yeah. And if you want to contact Elaine, she is easily findable through her name and UTS. So the email is there. You can email her or ask me to pass on a message to her anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Buva. Thanks,
And I
everyone.
will share with everyone the, you know, next year's project and everything when it's
beautiful.
up.
Buva, would you be able to send me the chat as
Okay. So 11 o'clock, let's get started. Thank you.